I'm going to be running through some tips, and hopefully this is you're able to walk away with something helpful and some key takeaways from this. So firstly, let me introduce a little bit about myself and Yap Global. So I'm Samantha. I'm a journalist by training, and I started Yap Global 3.5 years ago, from my passion for storytelling and crypto and blockchain. My agency is called Yap Global. We are a PR agency specializing in blockchain and cryptocurrency companies, and we're passionate about building the bridge between quality journalism and emerging technology companies. Now, I've got a global team. You can see some of them here. They're wearing the same shirt as me. So there's Mia, Joe, and Martina. But we've got team members around the world. We've got, team member in Berlin, Hong Kong, Australia, in Melbourne. And so we're quite a global team, and we're also shaped for the companies in the space that are also quite decentralized and global in a sense. And these are some of the companies that are here actually at ECC that we work with. So, well, there's Harvest Finance, so where's Poofster over there? We've got Eden Block, which is Lear up the front, so it's nice to have, and Hermes Network. Paul, how can I forget you? So we work with a few amazing projects and companies in this space, and we also have established relationships with media, and that's really what PR is all about, and I'm going to kind of go into kind of what the differences are, because I think some people get PR mixed up with like marketing and advertising, but these are some of the publications that we talk to on a daily basis and build relationships with, especially to kind of shape the narrative in a productive way. So let's kind of do a bit of a recap of the last year. I think we're all aware that we've just come off this bull run, and there was a media frenzy that kind of happened because of it. So once the Bitcoin price started climbing in late last year in November, a lot of the price action does encourage more mainstream media to start paying attention to the space. And so when you also see kind of like brands like Square, Tesla buying Bitcoin, these are the stories that make headlines. So you can see there's like BBC wrote about crypto, and that's quite rare, especially since we're quite early, when Financial Times starts writing about Coinbase, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, etc. And this is not normal. I mean, Yap Global was started in late 2017, early 2018, and pitching to Wall Street Journal or pitching to Financial Times a story about crypto is really tough. I mean, there was a negative stigma around it, of course, because of off the back of the ICO craze. So to see this interest is really encouraging. However, there's a lot of work to be done, because there's you're starting to see kind of the communication gap that we need to address, right? So let's now delve in, because we're in an Ethereum conference, let's delve into DeFi. DeFi summer was very active last year, and a lot happened, and there was an explosion of protocols, projects, and just, you could see in the numbers just how much, money was flowing in. However, if you kind of follow the mainstream media narrative, it only started getting attention last month, like June 2021, when DeFi summer was last year. So it shows you just how much time it takes for the media to actually understand what DeFi is and what crypto is, and wrap their heads around it. But last month, it's been very encouraging to see Wall Street Journal kind of write about Uniswap, even Financial Times, touching on how Silicon Valley is, betting on crypto projects to disrupt finance. And then we also saw an amazing feature from Bloomberg Businessweek about, all the food tokens that have emerged. But with that is the knowledge gap. So when Wall Street Journal just last month wrote a piece about how DeFi is helping fuel the crypto market boom, crypto Twitter was quick to kind of jump on the inaccuracies or kind of where the journalists kind of went, didn't accurately portray the space. But again, this is a reminder of how early we are. I think you can see in the comment here, it was a story about DeFi, but the people they quoted was Nexo and Celsius, which are CeFi projects. But to Wall Street Journal, that's still quite new for them to touch on. However, as you know, the crypto Twitter community is quite strong, and they kind of jumped on that. But I think the productive response here is to kind of actually understand where the media is at, and know kind of where they're at, and helping them understand what's really happening and the amazing things that these protocols and projects are building now. So to build more collective trust and credibility for the crypto industry, we need to have a strategic and effective PR strategy as a whole. Not just with teams, but just us as an ecosystem, as just the community that is advocating for this space. And so with that, there's a few tips that I want to kind of share here today, and practical tips to think about how to build your media narrative. This is for those of you, whether you're individuals or whether you are, part of a team, protocol, even if you're running a fund. This is something to think about. So 4 practical PR tips for building your media presence. So let's start with number 1. So be a resource to media. Now, it's important to understand that the journalists they're busy. They're getting hundreds of pitches a day, and they have their jobs to do. They need to some of them need to file 2-3 stories a day, right? And some of them it's literally it's their job, and so they might not have the time or even headspace to even keep up with what's happening in crypto, and things move really fast, right? And so yeah, I think we like to encourage our clients and people to be a resource to media. I mean, you're starting to see newsrooms like Bloomberg, CNBC, they're starting to hire crypto-focused teams. But with that being said, obviously, even within the crypto media, there's people with different beats, right? DeFi is one sector, but NFTs is another. So how can we be useful and helpful to the media? And yeah, something to remember is crypto does move fast, and imagine they need to file their stories, make sure it's accurate, and then keep up. And then before you know it, because the crypto market's so volatile, it might not even be a story in the afternoon. So we kind of have to support them a little bit on that. And something to remember is PR is a long game. It takes time to build relationships, and so we say the teams, we like to partner with them because it's not an overnight, to get on CoinDesk or even to get on, let alone the mainstream media. So you kind of have to be patient with PR and put in the time to build relationships. Second tip is education is important. I put this article here from Ryan Brown from CNBC, and he wrote he wrote this piece on Ethereum, what is it and how is it different from Bitcoin, in March 2021. I know we're really deep in this space, and so we might be like, all right, Ethereum, we don't need to explain this to people anymore. Yes, we do. Because Bitcoin, we're still I'm sure you're still having to even explain Bitcoin to your friends and family who aren't in this space, let alone Ethereum. So that's something to remember. And the most effective way to educate the public is through the media, because if you're talking to your family who's not in crypto, what do? You try to whip up an article, you try to be like, hey, go and read this explainer, or you try to share a link. It's all through the media, and that's why explainers are really important. So if you can contribute to an explainer or help a journalist put one together, that's your way of helping educate the media about crypto and this space. So that's something to think about if we're going to be talking about mainstream adoption and understanding of what we do. Oh, sorry, I realized I haven't been, okay, this is the slides. I'm like moving on my slides here. This is so this is the article I was talking about. I'm sorry. Yeah, so this is, again, an article that was just done recently in May, not even March, so in May, and he's writing about what is Ethereum and how is it different from Bitcoin, so something to note. Now the third tip is, again, I was touching before on the difference between PR and marketing, and something to note is that earned media is different to sponsored spots. So I'm sure you're aware that there's a way for you to sponsor content. I mean, that's kind of one of the revenue streams for some media publications. They'll go, well, if you write a piece and you pay us, we'll get it published, but they'll have to put a caveat at the bottom to say that this is a sponsored post. That also goes with like ads and with kind of marketing. And there's a time and place for that, but there's this famous quote from Richard Branson. He said, "Publicity is absolutely critical, and a good PR story is infinitely more effective than a front page ad." Because if you've got a journalist kind of writing about you because they're genuinely interested in what you have to say and what you're doing, that is more valuable, and that's just builds more trust and credibility for you. And so earning media placements builds credibility, and so just think carefully. However, I would say in the crypto space, there is a time and space for ads, but you're more effective taking time to build that rapport with the journalists and get them to kind of write a feature about you. And the last tip is trust a PR professional and be open-minded about it. And I would say that, obviously, because we work with teams, and I think that it depends on what stage you're in, but if you're busy building, you need to hire developers, or you need to kind of actually build your product, you might want to, it's not outsourcing, but like partner with a team, or even have an in-house comms person to really tell your story, because you could be building the best product or something that's getting amazing traction within your niche community, but if you don't shout about what you're doing, no one's going to hear about you. So trust the team, trust a PR professional, and be open-minded about it, because what the crypto industry is building, it's complicated, and you guys have to kind of understand, and think, if you have to explain this, say, to your friend or to your brother or to your sister, will they understand it? And trust that professionals in communication and even in journalism, they'll know how to kind of tell your story. But and so my last point is perhaps the saying, kill your darlings with technical jargon. I know we work on brand positioning sessions often with our clients, and they might want to include the word like protocol or like no code or something, but that might scare people away. And so kind of try not to be precious with your wording, but think about the message that you want to communicate. So meet the crypto translators. This is my team. Again, I just pointed that out, and we're growing. And so we're one PR agency in this space, but it's a valuable job that my team is doing. And so I think that it's and also even just to the community managers, to the chief marketing officers or comms managers, they are playing a valuable role, and I think that without them, the ecosystem just might not be able to bridge that gap. So that's something to bear in mind. So some practical tips for those of you who might be considering engaging a PR firm, and I know there's a lot of myths. We get a lot of questions even when we're talking to projects, and some of them might be coming to us too early or maybe too late. Here's some useful criteria to think about. So if you've got this is a checklist. You might not need to meet everything on this checklist, but if you've got it all, then you're ready for a PR firm. So, number one is to have a strong product or service. So, are you providing a solution or a service to the industry that's fresh and essential to the development of the crypto ecosystem? Second criteria is, do you have an established community? Sometimes we talk to projects that they have a great idea, they're about to launch, but they actually haven't even launched their, Discord or their Twitter, and they're trying to work on PR to gain that traction, but actually building a community organically first should be your first step, because the media will kind of look at the project and kind of be like, well, who's behind this? So if you've got an established community, then that's a good sign. Third point is sustainable growth plans. So are you serving a need that is not just short term, that you're going to be around for you're going to be around for the long term? That is attractive as a story for journalists as well. So sustainable growth plans is important. It's very hard to think about sustainability when things move so fast in crypto, but that's going to set you apart, and that's going to keep you kind of going, whether it's the bear or the bull market. And then strategic backing is important. So if you've kind of got advisors or investors or just a team that is kind of behind you, I think those are great ingredients for PR success, and that also builds the trust and credibility that journalists look out for. And then second last, exciting stories to tell and insights to share. So if you don't have anything to say, or if you're not kind of going to be vocal about, and adding value to discourse in the field that you're in, it's going to be very hard to kind of PR you, because you kind of have to say something to make news. So it's just a reminder, because if you're vocal about things, that's a great ingredient for PR. And then the last point is, a roadmap of PRable materials. I think it's the last thing on a few projects' mind, that they're so busy building that they're like, oh wait, hang on a minute, we should announce this, or we should kind of put this out. So having a roadmap is useful, and we do recommend a three-month timeline, because there's no point doing a huge push 1 month and then just not shouting about what you're doing later on. The media there's so many projects coming out right now, and we always recommend that clients are consistently being mentioned and talked about every month, so that it helps with that education, that kind of you're still in front of them, they're aware of what you're building and all that. So those are some criteria that you need to engage a PR firm. Now, there is a problem. Problem in this space is there is a lack of communicators, marketers, content creators, social media managers. I mean, we are addressing part of that gap, but we're getting kind of clients come to us asking if we do marketing support or social media or graphic design, and we don't. We specialize in a very strategic and kind of niche space as well in the kind of communication landscape, so to say. And so we've been thinking a lot about addressing this problem, because it's part of our mission to communicate and bridge the gap in this space. Whoops. So without effective communicators who can provide guidance on how to shape discourse in an effective and productive way, I mean, the crypto and DeFi ecosystem really risks becoming an echo chamber. I mean, crypto Twitter is loud, it's active, it's also a very great place for journalists to source for stories in the space, but at the end of the day, it's just an echo chamber because we're just shouting amongst ourselves. Even crypto media like CoinDesk, The Block, decrypt, etc. These announcements of like, a mainnet launch, like a layer 2 solution emerging, we're only shouting amongst ourselves. We're not really talking to the mainstream world. And there's that gap that we need to address. And so that's something to think about. And so as a team, as we're Yap Global, let's say we're Yap Global Limited, because we're a traditional PR agency, we can only grow as big as how big our team is. And there's actually a lot more demand for our services that we can meet. And so we're really excited to be launching Yap DAO. And the vision behind Yap DAO is we want to translate the crypto and DeFi world, for the mainstream world. So it is a community that will provide communication and marketing support to the DeFi world. It's going to live beyond us. We want people to join us, and we want to also encourage non-technical people to get work in a technical space. When I started, PR in this space, I didn't have a finance background and I didn't have a tech background. I studied arts at uni, and so I had to learn about finance and crypto from the beginning, and it's a really tough job. I mean, it's not easy, and so and I can imagine it's quite daunting for the people in the space that are thinking about joining this space, but just quite, I guess, intimidated by it. And so we want to be a community to encourage, communicators to support the projects in this space. So again, our mission is aligned with Yap Global's mission, but it will evolve from this. But again, it's to bridge the communication gap between emerging technology and the mainstream world. And we're really excited to be announcing and launching DAO House's marketplace. DAO House actually incubated Yap DAO. The first DAO I participated in was Orochi DAO, which is run on DAO House, a Moloch DAO. Oh yeah, Makoto. Makoto coordinated it, and Tay in the background's from DAO House. Actually, it's thanks to Makoto that has encouraged us to look into DAOs. And so DAO House is launching this marketplace for services DAOs. So we've heard a lot about DeFi DAOs and all the yield farming DAOs like Harvest Finance, which is doing an amazing job. But there's not a lot of, I guess, services DAOs out there. And so we're pleased to be the first PR DAO to be using this marketplace. Just to give you insight on how we all started, we're based on DAO House. And we had a little summoning in June 2021. Mia was there. And so, it was an experience. I'm learning along the way. And this is an experiment for us, but we're really hoping that it will grow and evolve beyond us. So we had a little summoning session with Ven and some of the DAO House teams, so that was really fun and helpful. And how to get involved. So entries, permission, but growth is encouraged. So if you have PR, comms, marketing, social media experience, or you have DAO experience, because we need that, because I don't have DAO experience, you can join. We would love for you to join Yap DAO. And to join, you need to pledge 500 DAI. That's just a membership pledge, but there is an option where you can kind of quit, or rage quit is the term in DAO House. And you that 500 DAI, you can take that away. But it's just a pledge to show your commitment. And have a willingness to learn about either of this. You're welcome to join. And also, if you don't have the time or capacity to contribute, but you still want to kind of be a member and support us in your ways by maybe referring companies, etc., you can still pledge, and we'd love to have you join. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to it.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, no. Makoto's like my crypto sensei, so I'm a bit worried about this.
Hi, I love that you put the same pledge amount as $500 as Orochi, so that's good. In case of Orochi, we just use for booze and drinks and have fun. For YapDAO, what's a kind of what do you expect as a primal kind of spending of the pledge people?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say the design was done by Rebecca Defoe, who is actually our social media manager, but we got her to work for the DAO. And also Raid Guild had helped us build the website. So the pledge money is just to, contribute to, building up the website and maybe coordination costs. But I think how it works is, the pledge is just to show commitment. Actually, YapDAO is pleased to, I didn't touch on this point, but we actually already have our first client. So Mia, Martina, and I, so it's we're kind of engaged DAO House as the first client for YapDAO. And I'm very happy to say that it is revenue generating from the beginning, because if you kind of go on DAO House, you can see our retainer, you can see the live proposal. So DAO House pays the DAO the retainer. 10% of that retainer goes back to the DAO, and then the 90% gets split between the service providers. And so basically it is a marketplace, and we want to encourage, and actually if you join the YapDAO Telegram already today, June Ian, he's the founder of ACJR Network, he just pinged in the chat, he was like, hey guys, I need someone to help me with, social media graphics for my podcast. Is there anyone here that can help me? And we're pitching Rebecca, who's also a member of the DAO, to kind of do work for him, and that will go through the DAO, hopefully. So, hope that answers your question.
Any other questions?
Yeah, hi. Just the obvious question. What are your thoughts on a token for YapDAO? I'm just going to cut right to it.
That is a good question. Everyone's asking me that too. Obviously, we are a services DAO, and when I was having chats with the DAO House team and people who are experienced, they're like, do you really need a token? We are starting with this experiment first, but yeah, over time, we're revenue generating, and the community is, we're growing up a treasury, I guess, and also ability for a way for people to get paid in dividends. I need to talk to a member of the team who's helping with our tokenomics, but token potentially. But I think right now we're still kind of taking it slow and seeing how it evolves. But we will do it in the right time.
So how do we become clients of the YapDAO?
That is a good question. And it's quite, I have to be honest here, I was quite scary because I'm kind of decentralizing my LTD company, because my clients might go, oh, well, can we then now engage the DAO? And then my team can go leave and exit to the DAO as well. If you want to put a proposal via the DAO, I would say that, again, I know there's the name. We really like the name, so that's why we're keeping it Yap. But it will be separate to Yap LTD. You'll get a different team potentially. Maybe you might even get a better level of service, but that's really dependent on the DAO to coordinate that, if that makes sense. But in terms of clients, we have been we haven't been turning, but we've been putting some clients who've come to us too early, and we actually, they just need a one-off announcement or a one-off job, and we actually have nowhere to send them. So actually, YapDAO is a space for us to also send the companies that just need that one PR or that one announcement, and that's a good interim solution until you're ready to engage a full-time PR firm. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, guys. I know it's the end of the day, so have a good afternoon. Bye.
Thank you so much.